What's up, guys? Graz back with another video. I want to start by saying happy holidays to everyone. 2020 was a tough year. We're almost at the end, just a couple more days, and we can start 2021 fresh. And I hope 2021 holds a better year than 2020. So I thought, what better than to give you guys my top 10 best PS4 games of all time at the end of the PS4 era, with of course the PS5 that has come out this year. So I thought this would be the perfect time to go over my favorite PS4 games of all time. And let's start right away with number 10. So number 10 is Bloodborne. So Bloodborne is by Japan Studio, which is an open world hack and slash. And you play as a hunter who awakens from a dream, who scours the streets of Yarnham fighting these nightmarish creatures. If you're a fan of the Soul games, so obviously like Demon Souls 1, 2, and 3, you'll feel right at home with this game. And to be honest, guys, this is probably the hardest game I've ever played on the PlayStation. It's really, really challenging. It's all about timing. And the thing is that the enemies deal tons of damage, and they're really, really hard to beat. So this is probably one of the hardest games. It will test your patience 100%. But again, if you're into the the games, the Soul games, you'll feel right at home with this one. So this is my number 10. This is Bloodborne. Number 9. So my number 9 game is Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which is a first-person shooter by Infinity Ward. So this specific one was made by Infinity Ward. So I think this is probably the best Call of Duty game to come out on the PS4. It has a great campaign, has awesome online multiplayer gameplay, and also amazing graphics, especially on the PS4 Pro. So if you do have the PS4 Pro, it does have upgraded graphics. And I think this is probably one of the most played online games as well. Super, super popular. And I've only done the campaign, but you know, during this holidays, I'm looking forward to playing the multiplayer as well. So this one, obviously by Infinity Ward, like I mentioned, Activision. There's also another game that just came out from the Call of Duty, which is the Black Ops Cold War, which is from Treyarch, which is not the same makers as Infinity Ward. I have a preference for the Infinity Ward Call of Duty games. So this, guys, is a really, really impressive game. I think a must-have if you're into the first-person shooter genre. So that's my number 9. Number 8 is a game called Death Stranding, which is an open world walking simulator by Kojima Productions. So this was a very controversial game when it came out. It had mixed reviews, and it's one of those games that you're either going to love or you're going to hate. So this game was created by Hideo Kojima, which was better known as the creator of the Metal Gear Solid franchise. So this is the first game that he made once he left Konami and opened up his own studio, obviously called Kojima Productions. So you play as Sam Bridges, who's a porter, or I would say a delivery man, in a post-apocalyptic world, transformed by what's called the Death Stranding. So he embarks on a journey to reunite and connect, as referred to in the game, the United Cities of America. So this is probably, in my opinion, the prettiest game on the PS4, especially if you're running it on the PS4 Pro. This is made by, it uses actually what's called the Decima engine by Guerrilla Games. So Guerrilla Games is responsible for games like Killzone and Horizon Zero Dawn. So it uses the Decima engine to run this game. And I mean, the face animations are world-class. The cutscenes are top-notch as well. And what's really nice about this game is that there's a slew of A-listers in this game. I mean, if you could just look at the top over here, you have guys who play in this game, such as Norman Reedus. You guys probably know him from The Walking Dead. You also have Mads Mikkelsen, Guillermo del Toro, Leo Seydoux. Troy Baker is also in this game. Lindsay Wagner, Tommy Earl Jenkins, Margaret Qualley, and Nicholas Winden Refn. So, I mean, just the stars and the actors that are being used in this game are just top notch. And like I mentioned, the cutscenes are great. The face animations are amazing. The only thing about this game is that it is a grind. You have to get used a little bit to the game mechanics. And the story is a little bit over the top with the use of like an incubated baby to spot what's called these BTs, so beach things, as you traverse across America in the hope of like reconnecting the world. So the story is a little bit out there, but that's sort of expected from a Kojima production type of game. But, I'm going to put it there in my top 10 just because the production value is amazing. The graphics, the gameplay is good, but again, it's a grind. But I feel like if you do get through the game, you do get a nice sense of satisfaction. So that is Death Stranding, which is my number 8. So the next one, my number 7 is Horizon Zero Dawn. This one is made by Guerrilla Games, which is also the makers of Killzone. So this is an open world action RPG. In this specific game, you play as Aloy, a hunter in a massive world overrun by mechanical animals and creatures she's trying to uncover her past and the secrets of the machines. This game is very unique because I find that it mixes a little bit of like tribal living with rudimentary weapons, and you're taking this tribal living and rudimentary weapons and trying to survive and hunt down these complex machines, which are animals. So the gameplay mechanics are amazing. The open world is beautiful. The story narrative is fantastic as well. And it's just very, very fun to play. There was also a couple expansions that did come with this one. As you guys can see, this is the complete edition. But right now, this game runs for like about $10. So if you don't have Horizon Zero Dawn, I think that it is a must play. As you guys know, there's a new Horizon coming out in 2021 on the PS5 and PS4, which is Horizon Forbidden West. So I'd highly recommend for you guys to play this game first to get introduced to the Horizon franchise before going off to the next one. So that is my number 7. Number 6 is Uncharted 4, A Thief's End by Naughty Dog. So this is an action-adventure game, and it's the 4th and last installment in the Uncharted series. So in this one, you play as the infamous Nathan Drake, who comes out of retirement after being, I would say, a former treasure hunter who, puts himself in a lot of trouble. So, and he finds out that his presumed dead brother is alive, called Samuel Drake. And due to this, he comes out of retirement. And himself, so Samuel Drake, Nathan Drake, Victor Sullivan is obviously back, as well as Elena. All of them embark on this last adventure looking for Henry Avery's long-lost treasure. So, I mean, this obviously, guys, is a game by Naughty Dog. It has amazing visuals, great storytelling. It has some of the best action-packed set pieces. The gameplay never gets dull. It doesn't over-empower you with weapons and character progression and upgrades. They keep this game pretty simple, and it has, either like some third-person shooting mechanics as well as some traversing mechanics as well. This one here does introduce the introduction of like a rope and hang, which lets you traverse cliffs and do some types of swinging mechanics, which is really nice. So this is a must-own as well, guys. If you have not played the Uncharted series, I would actually start from the beginning. Play them all. And The Thief's End, Uncharted 4, is a welcome ending to this amazing, I can't even say trilogy. It just finishes, the game super perfectly. So that's Uncharted 4, which is my number 6. My number 5 choice is Red Dead Redemption 2 by Rockstar Games, and you guys probably know Rockstar Games as well. From other games that they've done, and obviously this Rockstar Games is an open world action adventure which takes place in the West before Red Dead Redemption 1. I think the game takes place somewhere in the 1800s. And it follows a story of Arthur Morgan and him being part of the Vanderlyn gang. So Arthur Morgan is part of this gang, and they need to flee into the open country, trying to survive and rebuild after a failed bank robbery in the city of Blackwater. So this failed bank robbery has them on the run. And honestly, this game is just masterclass. The graphics. I think, honestly, Red Dead Redemption is probably the most realistic looking game. It probably has the most realistic mechanics as well. I almost consider this game a little bit like a cowboy simulator, just in the way that it plays. So it's I think is the most realistic game. Also, the way that you're able to interact with the people, and the way that, you know, it gives you so many different types of options. So you guys can see that this one actually is a 2-disc game. So you have an install game, and then you have a play disc. That's how big the game is. And it also has a multiplayer option if you guys are into the multiplayer. If you do have the PS4 Pro Advanced, you will get enhanced visuals such as enhanced resolution and textures, and probably better frame rates as well, trying to stay at the 30 frames per second. So this is a great game, guys. And what's nice about this game here is that it sort of like concludes into John Marston, which plays the protagonist in Red Dead Redemption 1. So it has a nice flow, introducing also John Marston for Red Dead Redemption 1. So a must own. This one is also obviously available on PC and on the Xbox platform. But a must own, guys. If you've never played this game, it is just fantastic. So that is my number 5. My number 4 is The Last of Us Part 2 from Naughty Dog. Again, Naughty Dog being the makers of the Uncharted series. So this is an action-adventure game which takes place 5 years after The Last of Us Part 1. So in this game here, you play as 2 characters. You play as Ellie, who sets out on a revenge quest following a dramatic tragedy. And you also play as Abby, also on a revenge quest, who also gets mixed and intertwined with some cult groups, which makes for some really amazing gameplay. This game, I'm going to tell you guys right off the bat, is violent. This game is violent. It's tragic. It's sad. It's stressful to play. It's not. I'm not going to say it's not a fun game in the sense that it's an easy game. Like, you are stressed during this game, but that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. You're always kept on your toes. There's some insane action sequences as well. This is probably the game that has the best character animation and graphics, and the storytelling is just top notch. This one as well does come with 2 CDs, so you have 2 installs. That's how big this game actually is, similar to Red Dead Redemption 2. But it's, I think, you know, again, there's a lot of controversy following this game, but apart from the story, it has the best game mechanics. It has the best character animations. It has the best graphics. The only thing for me why I did rank it like number 4 and it's not in my top 3 is that I played it once. I don't have the urge to go back to play it again, just because I find playing it the first time took a lot out of me, being just like a very stressful game. So, but it's amazing. It's a masterpiece. No matter what anybody says, what you read out there, it's a masterpiece. So I highly recommend, guys, to try out The Last of Us. And the nice thing now, actually, the game is half price during the holidays, so it did drop half in price. So that is my number 4. Number 3, and I'm gonna put these games together actually. So you have both Spider-Man games. So you have the original Spider-Man and you got Spider-Man Miles Morales. I'm putting these together because I feel like Miles Morales is more, I guess, like a side game, being relatively short. So These Spider-Man games were made from Insomniac. Insomniac is also responsible for your Ratchet and Clank games. And this is based on the Marvel comic hero Spider-Man. And it takes place in an open world New York City, which is just beautiful to traverse with a living city, the cars, the people, the buildings. So what's nice in this Spider-Man game is actually it's real life buildings that you're going to see in the game. So I guess they probably had to pay, Insomniac had to pay to use the rights to those specific buildings in the game. And honestly, the web slinging, the fighting, the action sequences, the graphics makes this one of the funnest games to play. It's just a blast. And playing also the Miles Morales game, it gives a completely different spin with new powers, new game mechanics, and a new character rendition as well. So the Miles Morales, that's pretty much the story of that one is you have Miles Morales replacing and taking the responsibility of protecting New York while Spider-Man is on vacation. So these games here, I just keep coming back to them because they're just so much fun. You can easily pop them back into your console and just swing around the city and do some side missions. So it's just an easy game to play. You don't have to be 100% invested into the story. So that's why it's in my top 3. You can just pop it back in and go out and have a great time with this. So the Spider-Man franchise is my number 3. So we are down to the last 2. And honestly, I really struggled. But you know what? Both of these games, I would say, are my top. Are both number 1 to me. But the next one is maybe no secret, but it's Ghost of Tsushima. So Ghost of Tsushima is by Sucker Punch. So Sucker Punch Games, the makers of Infamous and Infamous Second Son. So again, this is an open world action adventure game that takes place in the 13th century on the island of Tsushima. And this story is about the Mongol invasion by the ruthless army of the Mongol invasion in a quest to conquer all of Japan by first invading Tsushima. And you play so this is a new character that got introduced. So you play as Jin, one of the last surviving samurais whose mission is to save Tsushima from the Mongol invasion. And in your role, you're going to just do whatever it takes, even if it means putting aside the honorable samurai way of fighting, which is honor, courage, and respect in this epic story. So this is a huge game. The map is enormous. And I think, in my opinion, it has the most beautiful open world. It's not, I can't say it's really realistic. It's not, but it's more of a dreamy feel. It's just with the particle effects, the colors. This game has the best wind mechanics. It's just insane. The traversing, you use a horse to traverse. It's just beautiful. And the cast of characters. The other thing that I really loved about this game is the character progression. Just the way Jin progresses and how you're able to upgrade your character. It's just amazing. So this is Ghost of Tsushima by Sucker Punch Games. Again, it's a must-own. You guys should play this game. And I am sure, plus there was also a free update that came out during the summer, which is Ghost of Tsushima Legends, which was free. Which is a multiplayer, I would say like multiplayer adventure with, quests, different quests that you can do. It's just great. It's just great. So Ghost of Tsushima, I almost regret not putting it at number 1, but again, any of these games are just amazing. So Ghost of Tsushima is my number 2, and which brings us to my number 1 game of all time on the PS4. Obviously, you guys should probably know what it is. And yes, it's God of War by Santa Monica Studios, which is a third-person action-adventure who follows the story of Kratos along with his son Atreus, who pretty much set out on a quest to spread the ashes of their fallen wife/mother. So they go through this adventure. And what's beautiful is you see the development of the relationship between Kratos and Atreus, father and son, as both mature in their own respective manners. So the character dynamics are some of the best I've ever seen. It sort of reminds me of the relationship that Joel and Ellie from The Last of Us had. It's just like that father and son, father and daughter relationship, and just the dynamics and the progression of how their relationship progresses. And it's just amazing. Also, new to this is the way the fighting mechanics were introduced. So they introduced a new fighting mechanics that moved away from the previous God of War games, which is just great. The character progression, the upgrades, the graphics are gorgeous. The world is alive and living. It's a breathing place and has some of the best action sequences ever. And you know what? Another thing, the best part of this game is that this entire game is done with one single take. So one single take, the camera never cuts. From the beginning to the end, the camera never cuts. It's all in one scene. It's insane how they were able to do that. So hats off to Santa Monica Studios. This game actually won Game of the Year in 2018. And is my #1 favorite PS4 game of all time. So that's it for today, guys. Like, subscribe, leave some comments. And as always, have yourself a great day, have yourself a great night, and stay safe out there. Cheers.